So I've come to start my car this morning and it won't start. The first sign that something was wrong was when I went to change the memory settings. That would normally change the seats, the steering, the mirrors and everything like that. And try starting it up. Nothing. So the battery's virtually dead. So the first thing we need to do is find a donor vehicle, and I have one here, and that has a healthy battery. Next thing to do is to pop the bonnet on both cars. Once you've popped the bonnet, you need to locate where the battery is. So here it's on the passenger side of this car, and it's on the passenger side of this car as well. This being a Toyota and Lexus, they're fairly similar. You'll notice I've driven them side by side almost here, because the leads have to go all the way from that battery to this battery, and generally jump leads aren't that long. Now you'll notice on the Toyota here, there's a cover here covering the battery, so I'm just going to take that off. So now we've uncovered the battery. There's a cover on the positive side, we'll just take that off, keep that out the way. On the battery that's dead, we're going to just uncover them as well. The next thing we need to do is to unravel the red jump leads. It is fairly important that you adhere to this procedure. So the first thing you do, you want to put the red or positive one against the dead battery, against the positive point. You can check this by looking at the terminal cover there. Then attaching this to the good battery, again on the positive side to positive, again checking the terminal. The next thing to do is to start the car with the good battery. So unravel the black leads now. So now we're going to put the black terminal against the negative part of the battery. And we're going to attach the negative terminal here to the negative terminal on the battery. You might have heard there was a little spark there. That's pretty normal. There's no need to rev the engine, because at tick over there should be enough amps trickling through to charge the dead battery. So we're just going to let that trickle charge just a few minutes before we try and start the car with the dead battery. Okay, I'm going to attempt to start the car now. On this car you have to dip the clutch in to start the car. Also, even if you don't have a system like this where you need the clutch to be disengaged, it is also a good idea to dip your clutch in anyway, because even though you're in neutral, when you try and start your car on a manual, the starter motor will be turning over the engine and also the gearbox. So by dipping your clutch in, this disengages the clutch, which disengages the gearbox, so the starter motor has least resistance as possible when trying to start up. So I'm going to leave the two vehicles ticking over now. A lot of people are tempted to remove the jump leads as soon as the car with the bad battery is started up, but you really need to keep them on for at least 5 to 10 minutes. This ensures that there's enough current in the bad battery for next time you start it up, and also it protects your ECU. And the ECU is a very expensive component of an engine, and that a spike in current could be caused by removing them immediately after the car's started up. Generally, after you've started a car, it takes about 5 to 10 minutes to recharge the battery sufficiently enough for the next time you start it up. Now that there's sufficient charge in the bad battery, I'm going to switch the engine off from the car with the good battery. Now I've switched the engine off from the car with the good battery, I'm going to now switch the engine off from the car with the bad battery. The next thing to do is to remove the negative terminal from the good battery. The next thing to do is to start the engine from the car with the bad battery. Notice that the red lead is still attached, but the black lead has been removed from the good battery. Now we can go ahead and remove the black lead from the bad battery. Now that the negative or black lead has been taken off both cars, we can now remove the red leads, the positive leads. It doesn't matter which way round, there's no particular order to take this off now. The order was really just for the black terminal leads. Now let the car tick over for about 20 minutes just to ensure that it's now self-charging itself through its own alternator. Now put the terminal cover back on. Now that the car's been ticking over for about 20 minutes, we can now go ahead and shut it down. Now what you want to do is take the car for a good long run just to make sure there's enough charge getting to the battery from the alternator. It's always a good idea to get your car checked out by a mechanic or ring the AA, and they'll find out why the battery has gone down in the first place, because there may be something in the background, some drainage somewhere that you're not aware of. In case you're not sure which way round the terminal leads go on when you